Hi, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about density. So go ahead and look to your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, whoever's doing this activity with you, and ask them, what is density? Go ahead and take a couple of seconds to discuss it. What could density possibly mean? So after you guys have already kind of discussed what the idea of density is, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So I have up here written on just this blank piece of paper the word density. So as we can see, density starts with the letter D. Density. And density equals mass per unit. So when we talk about the word density, we're looking at two different objects. So here I have two different cups. I have a cup with just regular water, and then I have a cup with salt water in it. So I went ahead and added lots of water, which this cup is obviously going to have more mass per unit than the water is. This is going to create a density within this cup versus this cup. So what you're going to need to go ahead and conduct this experiment, you're going to need some salt. You're going to need two clear containers so that way you can see what's happening when the experiment is conducted. And you are going to need some objects to drop in. I went ahead and chose some grapes. That is what I saw most people use, so I wanted to try it out with the grapes and see what happens. So before we get started, this is what I want you guys to do. Go ahead and get your piece of paper, and we're going to go ahead and draw a picture of what's going to happen. So go ahead and take a prediction. A prediction means a guess of what you think is going to happen before we perform the experiment. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start mine right now. So I'm going to draw my two cups, and my two cups, one on each side of my paper. And then in the corner, I'm going to write the letter P. Does anybody remember how to make the letter P? Or does anybody out there have their name that starts with the letter P? Let's go ahead and do it together. So we're going to go up and around, and it makes the P sound. P says P. So I'm putting P for prediction, and that's right. Prediction is our guess, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So now go ahead and draw in your two cups that you drew on your paper what you think will happen when you drop in your grapes or whatever object that you decided to use. So what I'm gonna do is, I've never done this before, so what I'm hoping is in the salt water, that my grapes are going to hopefully float at the top. Since we're talking about density, this salt water has the most mass in it. So it would hopefully float the grapes to the top. So that's why I went ahead and drew mine at the top. But you can go ahead and make your prediction however you want. And then for my water, I'm going to go ahead and put that, hopefully my grapes would have sunk to the bottom of the cup. So I went ahead and drew my grapes at the bottom. So we have, you'll see in my picture, I have an arrow that's pointing up and an arrow that's pointing down. So go ahead and I'm going to show you guys what I drew. And you can see in my salt cup, I have my grapes floating up. And in my water cup, I have my grapes floating down. So before we go ahead and get started, can everybody show me what up looks like? Yep, up is in the air. And what does down look like? Yep, hands to the floor. So let's go ahead now and perform our experiment. Are we ready? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my salt cup first and place it in front. And then I'm gonna put my water cup next, and right next to it. So let's go ahead and drop two grapes into the cup that just has water in it, nothing else. Are we ready? 1, 2. So what happened when we dropped both grapes in this cup? That's right, they sunk to the bottom. So now let's go ahead and try with the salt water. 1, 2. And what did you guys notice when we dropped the grapes into the salt water? What is the difference between these two cups? That's correct. The salt that we added to this cup of water created density within the cup, making the mass thicker, which caused the grapes to float to the top. So if you can see close, this is what should have happened when you perform your experiment. Your grapes would have sunk into the bottom in the water, and then the salt water, they should have stayed floating at the top, just like that. Pretty crazy. So what do you guys think of this? That's right. Density causes something to float. So exactly. A great example of this would be if you ever went to the beach and you ever went to the ocean, or even in a pool of water that maybe has salt water in it. Sometimes we can put our body straight out in the water and we're going to float. And if we keep really still, our body will float on top of that water. But when we let that weight loose, that's when our body becomes heavier and will sink to the bottom. And that's why it's really important to understand the concept of density and the concept of mass. Everything has mass in it. It just depends on how much or how little. So now that we went ahead and did our experiment, we're gonna go ahead and do our conclusion. When I say the word conclusion, what is the first sound that you hear in that word? That's correct, the letter C. So right next to the picture that I already drew with the P for prediction, I'm gonna draw a C. And who remembers what a C looks like or has their first name start with a C? All right, let's draw it together for my friends that maybe don't know. So we're gonna go up and around like a half circle, correct? So we have our C for conclusion. That means the experiment's over. And again, we're gonna go ahead and draw what we saw after we performed the experiment. And again, I'm gonna draw my grapes floating at the top of the salt water. And then in the regular water, I'm drawing them down at the bottom. So for me, my prediction would have been correct because I guessed that my grapes were gonna stay floating at the top. So I can give a thumbs up to that prediction. It was an accurate prediction. What about your guys' prediction? What was your prediction? Was it correct or was it incorrect? So let's go ahead and you guys can see my work. Yours should look something like that. Wonderful. So now next time somebody asks you about density, you'll be able to explain to them all about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Science Time. Enjoy your day. I'll see you next time. Bye.